As we welcome Salom, will take us off from there. Salom, you have the floor now.
Yeah, thank you, Ikena. And nice to. I'm happy you actually got me on board for this, and I'm happy to be here. And thanks to everyone for joining. Let me share my screen right away. I don't know. Do I have permission to share my screen? Okay, yes, I think I do. I don't know which screen I'm sharing. Please, can anyone see my screen? Okay, yeah, there's a thumbs up. All right, so my name is Solomon. I'm a QA engineer. So I've been doing QA for 9 years, getting to 10 years now. And I'm happy to share my thoughts, and I'm also excited. I was brought on board by TestAfriq. Please, if you're not following TestAfriq, kindly do well to follow them on the various social media. So um, in today's webinar, we are going to be taking a look at how we are going to test a website. We don't need to complicate things, like we trying to get the understanding of how to test a basic website, what you need and all. Okay. So this is the learning outcome of what we need to achieve. We need to know what a test plan is, know the differences between a test scenario and a test case, how to write positive and negative tests for maybe a simple feature for testing a website. And we are going to be um, doing a practical session. So it's not going to be like it's only terms, definitions, and that will be it. No, we are not going to do it like that. Yeah. Let's begin. So first of all, we need to take a look at what a test plan is. So when you join any company or any organization, if you're about to start testing, the first thing that you need to know is to have your test plan down. And someone will ask, what is a test plan? So let's put it like this. If you are organizing a vacation or you are planning a vacation with your people, or maybe, yeah, if you're organizing a vacation, normally what happens is we try to look at who will, who is going to be responsible for doing what, where we are going to for the vacation, what we are going to do, who is going, and all. So taking a look at this, when you are trying to bring this card, sorry, let me disable my notifications, else I'm going to be constantly distracted. Give me a second. Yeah, so as I was saying, when you are planning a vacation, you are going to ask who is responsible for what and what the person is going to do. So maybe they will be like, oh, this person is going to bring us the car, this person is going to sponsor the food, this person is going to bring the girls for the vacation. So when you are planning this, when you are trying to move this into what a test plan is, so basically it's going to be a document that contains what is going to be tested, who is responsible for doing the test, um, what is going to be tested, which environment we are going to be testing or on, the objectives of what we are going to do and all. So when you're trying to move that, like the scenario that I said earlier, and you are trying to bring it into test plan, it's going to give us a fair idea of the objectives of what we are going to test, the scope, the environment, the responsibilities, who is going to test and all. So basically it's um, a document that outlines everything that needs to be tested, the schedule, when we are going to test and all. So that's a fair idea of what a test plan is. So let's move on to test scenario. Normally, test scenario and test cases move hand in hand, but they are not related. So let's break it down as this. So a test scenario gives you a high level understanding of what needs to be tested or what needs to be validated. With this, you just have it in mind that this is what we are going to test. This is what we are going to test. And for the test case, it is something that's okay. Let me break it down like this. So the test scenario is a high level, and the test case is a low level. So in terms of high level, you have a fair idea of what you are going to test, but you do not know exactly the steps that you are going to be testing. So there comes in the test case. So with the test case, it's going to be basic step-by-step instructions on how you are going to test. So the test scenario, they're giving you what you are going to test, but the test case is going to detail the exact steps and the exact procedures you are going to be taking in order to perform that test. So one example of a test scenario is verify that a user should be able to log in successfully. So once you know that this user is going to be logging in successfully, what are the steps in order to make the user to be able to log in successfully? So that is the difference between the test case and the test scenario. So the test case gives you the step-by-step steps on how to test the fair idea, high level understanding of the test scenario. So that's going to be the difference. So just keep it in mind that the test scenario is a high level of a high level document or a high level description of what you are going to be testing, and the test case is going to be the step-by-step uh, it's going to be the step-by-step steps. I hope that makes sense. Step-by-steps that makes that you're going to take in order to test your application. So yeah, just as I said, yeah. So how you are going to test um the steps. So when you take a look at this, you know, if you're going to do a login test, the first thing that you're going to do, okay, so this is a forget password. You click on this, do this. So when you're following all these steps, it's going to give you a fair idea of what you're going to be doing. So we are going to be um, doing practicals so that we all have a fair understanding of what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that takes me to the next point. So in software testing, we have positive and negative tests. So with the positive tests, what you are going to do is you are going to ensure that the system is actually valid, or the system checks that all the valid inputs are actually going through as expected. Whereas the negative test is going to check that when you do something that the system does not expect you to do, how is the system going to handle it? So what you are checking for in positive test cases are valid inputs and the expected behavior. And for the negative test, we are going to check for invalid, or let's say unclear errors. Yes. Oh, give me a second. Yeah, so for the negative scenarios, you are going to test for um, what the system should not be able to handle. And let's say if, okay, so you are going to sign in and you try entering something that you are not supposed to enter. How is the system going to handle that? So that's going to be a negative scenario. But for the positive scenario, normally called the happy part, you know that this is what the system is supposed to do. When you enter what I'm supposed to do, am I getting the exact confirmation on what I'm supposed to get? Yeah, so normally when you want to do a negative testing, there are some checklists that you are supposed to actually take a look at. These are not the only checklist that you have in order to do your negative testing. We actually have different ways to do negative testing, and negative testing can actually lead you to be doing monkey testing, where you try to enter different random or unexpected things that the system is not supposed to enter. Let's say if you are doing a login, you are not supposed to let's say when you're entering your email, you definitely need to know that you need to add the at gmail.com. But when you're doing a negative test, you can probably decide that I'm not going to add the at symbol to see how the system behaves. Or if let's say the password you're supposed to enter like 8 characters, you can decide to enter one to see if the system is going to behave just as you expect it. Okay, yeah. So enough of the talk. So let's go right into it to see how best we can explain what we are doing. Okay, before that, let me share with you with the site that I'm using for this test so that you can also take a look at it. Okay, so sorry, we've talked about test scenarios and test cases. So in order to, so this is the site that we are going to be testing. So let's try to create a simple test scenario regarding this website. So when we take a look at this website, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm a bit unclear on the test case and the test scenario explanation that you gave on it.
Okay, so let me break it down like this. So the test scenario gives you a high level of what you are going to do. So for instance, the user should be able to sign in successfully. So that is the test scenario. But with the test cases, it's going to be the step-by-step instructions that you are going to perform in order to achieve that test scenario, which is signing. So for instance, let me get here. I hope you can see. Let me try to zoom.
Yeah, yeah,
So test scenario. So you can say this is scenario ID. Um, okay, just as I said, so we are going to be taking a look at with the example that I said. So this scenario is a login sign in. So the user should be able to log in successfully. So that is the scenario that you've been given. So you have it at the back of your mind that this is a scenario that I'm supposed to test. So the description is going to be user um, verify that user can sign in successfully. Yes, so when you have this as your scenario, the priority maybe they can tell you it's a very high priority, so you need to attend to this very first. You need to attend to this first. So this is the scenario that we've been given. So let's translate this scenario into a test case so that we actually know what we are doing. Um, Give me a second. So I have this test ID. So this is the title. This is the title. This is going to be the preconditions. This is going to be the steps. This is going to be the test data. Expected results. This is actual results, and this is the status. Okay, so we are taking a look at this scenario. Verify that a user can sign in successfully. So when we come to this site, now this is the site that you've been given. In order to sign in successfully over here, you first of all need to ensure that the user is registered on the system, because if you're not registered on the system, there's no way you are going to be signing in. So for this site, they've already given us the credentials that we need to sign in. And the scenario is telling us that users should be able to verify that users should be able to sign in successfully. So in order to sign in successfully, we need some things in order to perform this. So the things that you need to perform successful sign-in are the preconditions. So those things need to be present even before you actually start executing your test. So over here, our preconditions are the username and the password. So when we take a look at, so when you're drafting your test case, you need these are the main things that you actually need to create a very good test case. The test case ID, the title of the test, the precondition, the steps that you are going to be using, the test data, expected results, actual results, and the status. So just make sure you have these things always available. Some companies, you can expand this further, but at least when you have this information, that gives you a fair idea of how you are going to be creating your test cases. So the precondition, user should be registered. Should be registered. Pardon me for my typos. Yeah, so the test data, as I said, if you do not have that test data available, there's no way you are going to be performing the sign-in. So when we take a look at this, the very first test data is the username. So we come over here, we enter username. So the username is standard user. Standard underscore user. Then the password is secret source. So over here, you are expecting that when the user, okay, the title is successful sign in. So let's give this as a TC underscore 001. Yeah, so we know that we've been given the test scenario that the user should be able to sign in successfully. So over here, the expected result is user can sign in successfully. That is what we actually expect if you are supposed to execute test case 1. If the user does not sign in successfully, or if the user is not able to sign in successfully, that means this test case is actually going to fail. So now, to get the difference, the clear difference between the scenario and the test case is that it all lies over here. So over here with the test scenario, you have a fair idea of what you are going to be testing, but you do not know exactly how you are going to do that thing. So that is where the test case comes in. So when we take a look at this page, for instance, the first, in order to sign in successfully, you first need to log in. You first need to visit this URL. So that is the very first step that you are supposed to take. So you are going to state over here that it's a step. So the first step in order to sign in is to um, go to this page. So that's the very first thing. Once you are done with that very first step, let me try to adjust this again. Yeah, so the very first step, we've entered this website. Once we enter this website, it took us to this page. So before you sign in, what are you going to do? You are supposed to enter your username. So you come back over here to the next step, number 2. Why are you giving me number 1? Number 2. Enter username. So you've stated that the person is supposed to enter the username. We've already specified the username over here, so there's no need to enter it over here. So now we've entered the username. The next step is for us to enter the password. So over here, we enter our password. So let's come back. So the next step you are going to perform is to enter password. So now we've entered our username, we've entered our password. The other step again we are going to do is to click on the login button. So our test step 4 is going to be click login button. I don't know why this thing is missing it. The step 4 is going to be clicking on the login button. So now let's click on the login button. So you realize that when you click on the login button, it actually takes you to the home page. Yes, so let's go through this together again. So first of all, before we achieve this test scenario, this is the high level overview of what we are going to do. But we need to perform some steps in order to do that. Just as we all looked at together, in order to do the sign in, you first need to ensure that you first go to the URL, then you enter your username, you enter the password, then you click on the login button. So all these steps are what we classify as the test case, because that is the step-by-step instructions you are going to perform in order to execute this scenario. I hope that's clear. So once you do all those steps, you should be able to sign in successfully. But if you do all those steps and you are unable to sign in successfully, that means your that means there is an issue. So if there's a failure somewhere, okay, so as we did it, the actual results of what we got was we were actually directed to the home page. That means we were able to sign in successfully. So you will come over here, the actual results that user was able to sign in successfully. So that was the actual results of what we got. So you enter it over there. So the status is either going to be pass or is going to be fail. But over here, when we pass and fail, but in our scenario, the system passed. So we are supposed to mark it as passed. I hope that is clearer. Okay, so that is one scenario. So sometimes you can have a scenario that can contain multiple test cases. So for instance, the next scenario we are taking a look at is verify that a user should be able to purchase. What do we have over here? Yeah, so the next test case is I'm trying to bring up a scenario from this website that we are taking a look at. So the next scenario is verify that a user should be able to purchase Source Labs backpack. So this is the scenario that we are trying to achieve over here. So in this scenario, we want to ensure that we can buy this bag, go to checkout and everything. So when we take a look at this, let me go back to the home page. Why can't I go back? Okay, so when we take a look at this, we realize in order to buy this bag, we are supposed to perform a number of steps. So now let's bring that into the next test case, which is going to be test case 002. So that's going to be successful bag purchase. So preconditions, user should be signed in. User should be signed in. User, yeah, that's the main thing. The user should be signed in. So the test data, we still have our username and password. The next thing that the data that we need to use is the backpack. So item is going to be the backpack. So before we will be able to execute this scenario successfully, we first need to sign in. So we need to ensure that we still have our sign in entered over here. So once you are signed in successfully onto this page, what are you supposed to do? Now we want to ensure that user should be able to purchase this bag. So in order to purchase this bag, once you're on the home page, you need to click this item and make sure you've added this item to the cart. Once you add this item to cart, then okay, so we've clicked to add item to cart. So in our next step, after we sign in successfully, so add item to cart. And what is the item? You know the item that you are adding is the Source Labs backpack. So we've already added the item to cart. So we can see that the item shows over here. So in order to purchase, what are you going to do again? The next step is for you to click on the cart icon. So let's go back again over here and write our next step. So the next step is going to be click on cart icon. So once you click on cart icon, you realize that it takes you to the cart page. So this is our cart page. So as we're on this cart page, what next again are you supposed to do? Because the clear idea is to ensure that we've been able to successfully purchase a bag. So we are going to be performing all these steps one by one till we finally purchase this bag that we are looking at. Okay, so the next thing is to click on the checkout on this cart page. So we come over here 7. Click on checkout. Click on checkout button. So we've clicked on the checkout button. It takes us to the checkout page. So we need to enter our name, last name, and the zip code. So the next step is ensuring so number 8. Click on 8, sorry. I think you are supposed to, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to cut you short. Since we have a precondition that the user should sign in, is
Mm-hmm.
it necessary we bring the same steps to log in again?
Yes, it's actually, so when you are doing automation testing, that's when you would understand that you need to bring all these things, because the whole idea of testing is to ensure that your test is not depending on another test. So if you are going to do another test, you should make sure that you are treating that test as a new test. Like, it's not going to rely on any other test again. I hope that's clear.
Okay. Yes, please.
Because if it's relying on another test, so let's say you decided that yeah, what you're saying actually makes sense, but when you are trying to do a proper test, you need to ensure that you are doing everything again from scratch. Like, you are not relying on any other test, because in automation testing, when you are doing automation testing and let's say you are relying on another test to perform before you do your test, if that test fails, that means this your test too is actually also going to fail. So always try to ensure that you are treating each test as independent as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So we enter, the next step is to enter first name, last name, and zip code. So enter first name. Enter number 9 is to enter last name, and our number 10 is going to be enter the zip enter the zip code. So the next step we are going to perform is to click on continue. Click on continue. So when we click, so what is happening? Is this a bug on the page? Just give me a second. Yes, you need to be logged in, but I'm actually logged in. So what's wrong about it? I don't know what happened. Okay, yeah, so let's go back. So we've clicked on continue. So once we click on continue, it takes us to this. Is this a checkout page? Yes, let me say this is a checkout page. So once you click on continue, um, the next step you are supposed to do is 12. Click on the finish button. Click on finish button on checkout checkout page. So the next thing we are supposed to do is to click on finish. So once we click on finish, we are supposed to verify the order has been placed. Yes, so coming back to Yeah, so when we take a look at this, we were able to purchase um our items successfully. So that means we've been able to fulfill this scenario that we were given. And in fulfilling this scenario, these were the steps that we actually performed in order to fulfill that scenario. So you first enter your you go to the website, you enter your email, you enter your password, you enter every detail steps. And in doing every when you are performing each step, you need to validate that if I enter username, did the username register, or did it was it saved in the text input? When I click on cat, did it was I directed to the cat page? When I click on cat icon, what happened? So it's not just as if it's not just as if you are just clicking or going through these instructions. After every instruction or after every step that you execute, you are supposed to ensure that you are actually verifying that the test step that you performed, if that step is actually working as expected. So if, let's say, um when we got to the checkout button, I clicked on the checkout button, and um it did not take me to the next page, or there was an issue with the checkout button. You can normally, yeah, they have comments. Yeah, you can also have comments as part of it. So if the test fails, you can name it as fail. Then you can say check test step 00 test step um let's say 7. So whoever is reviewing this document knows that the failure actually happened on the 7th step. So if the person also goes through this same scenario, or when a person is trying to reproduce this test case, the person when the person follows this um step by step, and the person gets there, the person should be able to reproduce the failure that you are actually having. That's why it's always important that you are writing your test cases very detailed, because if you don't write a very detailed test case, there's no way you are going to be testing the testing the application very well, unless maybe you are doing exploratory testing where you are trying to get the understanding of the platform, where you are doing your own test. But if you've done your exploratory testing and you are now going to write a good test case, you are supposed to ensure that you've entered every detailed test step in order to achieve what you are going to do. So it doesn't end here. It doesn't end here, because we have different scenarios that you can actually test. So the main idea or the main concept of today's webinar is to ensure that we know the differences between um, a test case, a test scenario, a test plan, and what goes into a test case, and what goes into a test case, and how you are going to achieve a successful testing. Because if you do not write all these things, or if you don't document these things very well, there's no way you are going to be testing the application properly. And also, maybe you are the let's say the test manager, you've reviewed this and all, but someone joins the company and the person has no idea of how they are going to test. So it's good that you are going to share this your document with that person. When the person goes through it, the person would not have any challenges in going through or understanding the platform, because you've actually entered, or you've actually specified everything, like every detailed information on what needs to be tested and how you are going to be doing your tests. So I hope this actually makes some sense, and this should give you a fair idea of how test cases are. Yes. Any yeah. Yeah, you can go ahead. I don't know who
Okay, so listening to you and then following attentively, the product was successfully dispatched, right? That was the test case we just did. It was successful. I was thinking that there was supposed to be a payment plan or something before,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't part of the.
Yes. So taking a look at, yeah, you are right. So exactly, you are very right. So with this web page, because it's a demo, it's something for practice. Maybe they did not add that option. But normally, ideally, when you are going to sign in or when you are going to purchase something, you need to ensure that you've entered your payment options, whether if it's credit card or something. Yeah, I think you are right. But I think this platform or this thing we are using, this site we are using, this did not give us um a clear understanding of, did not give us that flexibility to do that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So with this, when you get the understanding of how to write detailed test cases and um your test scenario, you should be able to do any test successfully. So I think with this, we've been able to achieve what um we actually plan on achieving in this webinar. Yeah, Ike, now over to you. Oh, sorry. If you have any questions, you can still ask me. So it shouldn't be like this is the everything ends here. If you are testing any other sites, like this should be the foundation, or this should give you a fair idea or a fair overview of how you are going to test any other websites. Like it shouldn't be different. Just ensure that you are sticking to the steps. If your steps are not clear, then your test case are not detailed enough. Yeah, that's what I can say. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Silon. Some people have their hands up, and some also with their questions on the in chat. Um, First of all, let me John, John, you can ask your question before I read what I have here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. And I want to find out, is there a way that, we can automate this process? You have a bunch of goals for your website and you want to do a test. I mean, should we go by this manual process step by step like this, or there's a way that you can automate the process and get what you need?
Sorry, I think I misunderstood your question. Can you come again?
Yeah, so I mean, is there a way that we can automate this process, this testing process, instead of doing it manually, like one like this? Like, someone who is not a typical QA engineer, maybe a software developer, you want to quick test if everything is working. Do you have, is there a process or a website or kind of something that you can do to automate this process?
Um, hmm, this question, I don't know. I don't know if you can be the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. So apparently there are things you can do. First off, I don't want to jump into that, but then there are ways you can automate the process, and there are web-based tools which I will share with us. I'll just do a quick demo to us after this call. I mean, just before we end the call, if those of you will be here, I'll do a quick demo for you to see how you can capture test cases. All right. So I'm going to give you a very quick one after these questions. However, but there are also tools that help you that tools like Scandium. Scandium helps you even create your test case and test scenarios. Right? You just have to enter your URL and then they can use that to create your stuff for you, your test cases and your scenarios. There are also products like Browser Stack or the Smart Beer that owns Browser Stack. They're able to give you that tool that helps you create that. Well, then there's a web-based tool that can help you do that. Yeah,
All right. Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
yeah,
yeah.
it's good you actually asked that question. Yeah, so in addition to what Ikena was saying, so the thing is, when you do not have a fair idea of how it is going to be done, like the way we broke this thing down into steps, there's no way you are going to automate those steps that you want to do. I don't know if you get me. So getting the understanding of what you are once you get the understanding of what you are supposed to do, then you can go ahead to use those tools in order to fasten your test case creation.
Okay, thank you very much. Jonas, your hand is up.
Yeah. So with what you said, Ikena, you said if I go to right, you said there's a platform where you can just paste the URL where it will just generate your test case for you. Was that what you said?
Yeah. Yes, there's a platform or there's a tool or is an indigenous tool called Scandium. Okay, Scandium helps you do that. Scandium has also the AIs that help you. When you put your UI or you put your URL, it helps you do that.
I think in the working field, it's not allowed, or
Yes, it's a tool. I mean, it's allowed, but I mean, again, it depends on the what do you call it, like your team where you work. So everything depends on what they do, how they go about their processes. So it all depends again from the team. The tool only gives you access because you subscribe to the tool and it's paid for. So that means if you're testing a product and you put in your URL, in fact, as a matter of fact, what they do is that you can put your URL, your URL, they will even do the test for you. They'll write the test case for you, do the no code test for you, and then they'll give you the result themselves. Just put in your URL and your test data. They're able to do the whole thing for you and give you your result. So
okay.
it's a way of helping with regression and there's so much work to do, but in also a way knowing that the developers who are there also know what they're doing. So it's also a tool that helps in order to get that done.
And
Okay.
also for the automation.
Yeah, so they also help with no code automation where you just that also what you think to do. So what you do is you kind of do it kind of a pre-test. So you put your URL, if it's a web-based application, but if it's a web-based application, you put a URL and then you click and do all your tests and then it's saved. The next time you bring a new version with what you've done, is able to do a regression for you. So it helps you do regression without you having to do the second time. So basically, it's also a tool that helps you with regression automation.
Mm, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a question here. So he's saying,
Um, when building test case, when building test cases, should we focus more on the positive or focus on the my network? What the hell?
"Hello, can you hear me?"
Yeah. I think my network disconnected. Sorry.
So yeah. So Muhammad Adams was asking when
What the hell is happening? Um, am I audible?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my network was messing with me. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So
So when building test cases, should we focus more on the positive ones or focus more on the negative? I think it's a balance between the two. So first of all, you are supposed to make sure the system works. That's the positive. The happy part is actually working as expected. Once you are done with that, that's when you try to add in those negative scenarios, because when the application is out, when a user is using that application, the user does not know that what I'm doing is a negative scenario. So you as the q engineer, you are supposed to think like the user, try to probably do those negative testing that a user might probably do, maybe something foolish. It doesn't sound well, but that you are trying to do what the system is not expected to do, but it's something that you really need to add. So when you first of all ensure that your happy part or your positive scenarios are actually working as expected, then once you're done with that, you can start bringing in your negative scenarios. So it should be a blend between the two, but ensure that the system actually works as expected. Once that one is working, then you can start adding in your um your monkey testing or your negative testing.
Awesome. Awesome. So let me can somebody give me, okay, I'm using the sourcedemo.com now or something. Um I don't know. I want to show you how we can actually do a test using testcraft. Okay.
Are you sharing? Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen shortly. So we are assessing source. Okay, here. Can you let me know if you can see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Let me share the full screen so you can see fully. Okay, screen. Still, can somebody? Okay, so let me do this. Can so if you look at this, right? There's this place here called there's this thing called testcraft. Okay, testcraft. So what it does is this: you click on it. Let's say I pick this element. I pick this. Okay. When I pick this, it tells me that element picked. So when I go back here and I create generate test ideas, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
I see. So I see the generated test ideas.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Can you see this? Good. So this can help you create scenarios, create test cases. So now you can use this to if you're using an Excel sheet, you can use this to create to populate your Excel sheet for your test ideas, which is your test cases and your scenarios. Does it make sense? Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Good. Let me see. Okay. So it gives you that, and then if you want to automate it as well, you can click on this thing. So let's say I want to automate some of these ones, or better still, let's say let's go back and let me still collect this. Let me pick the element. It's picked. Element is picked, and I go here and I automate. All right. Can you see this? Can you see this?
That's
Okay.
amazing.
Is it playwright or
That's playwright. So
okay?
I use playwright for my automation though. So I had already configured it to use playwright for me. I'm just giving you an instance, maybe, but just know that it's an element you can use that only for kind of
It's 11
web-based
hours.
automation. So it's called testcraft. So you can download the extension on your machine and then use that for your stuff. At least you've learned something new today, all right?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Can you also change the language?
Yes, 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 yes. Let me see. I think I've stopped sharing my screen. I have under okay because I have under it. I'm trying to run. Yeah, the testcraft is free. There is an extension. Okay,
Hmm.
so I'm glad you've learned something new today. But when you're setting up, it also tells you to ask you the language you want to. I think it has Cypress, it has Playwright. I think also Selenium is all of it. So you can also decide which of them you want to go for. Right.
Yeah.
So in that note, I want to say thank you so much to Salom. It's been a very great one today. I'm glad we all learned something new. And again, like someone said, it's not about the auto generation. It's about you understanding. Sometimes these cases and scenarios may not also apply to what you're working on. But it's important that if you know the basics, you know the cool understanding, it gives you knowledge when you're working on other things. You can easily transfer it into automation so that when, like for instance, the playwright script, sometimes it gives you playwright script, right? But when you apply it in your code base, some things may fail. You just have to, if you understand it, how to debug and find issues, you may be stuck, So it's important that in as much as you are working on getting this automated part of things, we should understand the basics. And that was why we make sure that we taught us testing basics using a simple website so that at the end we understand the basics. And when we are testing fully, when we move into automation or anything, because we understand the basics, we know how to test in automation. And it's also important to know that um, we don't glamour for automation because most times, if I ask you to automate, the question becomes, what are you automating? Many people just jump into automation, but you must have a particular, case or plan that guides your automation. So many people don't know what to automate, but they want to learn how to automate, but they don't know what to automate. You don't automate everything, and not everything is even important or needs to be automated. But if you know what to automate and then the steps you need to automate, then it will give you more idea on how best to automate. Okay. So thank you so much, Solomon. Thank you everyone for this time. It's been a very great one. On the 24th of January, I tell you, on the 24th of January, we have another speaker called Dennis from Fido, one of our QA engineers. Dennis will be teaching us how to use AI for test documentation. Is crazy. What we are doing in Fido is crazy. I work with Fido. I'm the manager of the QA team in Fido. I'll tell you something. Dennis is a crazy guy. I wish I could show you guys a snippet of what we are doing in Fido. Crazy stuff we're doing in Fido using AI is just crazy. Okay, let me just give an instance. Look at this. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
No.
Not yet.
Let me just do a quick one for you guys to see. Just a quick snippet of Fido's. Now you're coming to Fido's insights. Now the year 2025. This is what my team did. Right, crazy stuff. Our report. See the report, and the guys. So Dennis did this. Dennis did this report, right, for Fido. We are able to utilize AI for most of our documentation and our like AI. So we are really exploring so much AI in Fido. And so what Dennis is going to do is he's going to teach us on how we can use AI in our test flows, in our test execution. It gives you access on how you can utilize AI in one of the things to do. So he created this, and all these things came up from AI. All these numbers and stuff he was able to work on, he got them from AI. And so I'm just excited on what next week is coming. I mean, on the 24th of January, it's going to be an amazing section with him. So I'm really excited to see what is bringing on board. Okay, so kindly, like Emmanuel has posted, join our. If you want to know about what we're doing, join our community. Get to see what's going on there. Join the community and then follow us on our platforms, on our social medias. You get to hear the right updates. And I tell you, we have a lot of things in plan for you for the year 2026. We have a lot of things, amazing stuff going on. I want to give a special shout out to Sedem Balfour for the founder of Good and Cocktail. He's here with us. Thank you so much, Sedem. Thank you for being a great partner. He was one of the guys that also put out there. He's been a very, very solid guy for us. Thank you so much, Sedem, for being here. And thank you for most of my guys. Oh, Judith, I see you. Thank you. Emma, thank you for coming. Thank you guys for being here. It's a very great one today. And I look forward to seeing us more on the 24th of January to come experience more things here. Without much ado, I want to say have a good one, and we'll see you on the 24th. Kindly follow our pages as Emma has shared on the in chat here. Thank you, and bye, guys. See you on 24th.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Senior
Bye.
engineer